As we've learned over the past 2 seasons, the convent is close to 400 years old, and the maintenance on the building complex during that time has been spotty at best. Something is always breaking, so the sisters hold their annual fundraising drive 4 times a year. Don't look at me, that's how Sister Jacqueline put it. Various sisters are assigned to various parts of the island. Sister Bertrille gets the most outlying areas because she has the easiest access to them. The wind is much more reliable than the station wagon.
Oh, hello. I don't usually pick up hitchhikers, but if you're collecting for anything, please stay out of my territory. Ooh, oh, here comes that old devil, turbulence. Fasten your seatbelts, we're gonna make a landing.
But as we know, turbulence can make landing a little bumpy. Although ordinarily in a bumpy landing, that doesn't happen. She's landed in the front yard of Senor Benito Gomez and his wife Consuela. And the chicken.
But Pedro has not laid an egg for 2 years. Why should he do it so sudden like this?
Maybe his name isn't Pedro.
If he really is a Pedro laying eggs, you might want to call the newspapers. She explains why she's there, and he says, "I'm really sorry, but we don't have anything." He hates to send her away empty-handed. Everybody on the island knows and admires the work the sisters do, himself included.
Perhaps you would accept some sugar cane. You can make rum with it.
You can also use it to cover the taste of bad coffee, sweeten a bowl of cereal, and lots of other things that don't violate the sisters' code of ethics. He can only think of one other thing to offer her.
I present to the sisters a chance on the lottery. Oh, first prize is $25,000.
Oh, I couldn't accept this, really.
Sister, I know what good work you do at the convent. I want to help. You must accept this. It will make me very happy.
Well, as long as you put it that way.
He can't even afford to give Pedro a hen's name, but he has a lottery ticket. We were living in Denver when Colorado began its first lottery. The instant feeding frenzy, especially by people I never would have guessed, absolutely floored me. One friend of ours wanted to immediately go out and buy 50 tickets. We watched other people practically bury themselves in those things, and nobody won a blasted thing. That friend I mentioned was a poor student just like I was. We were going to the same school at the time. The school didn't take an official stand on the lottery. They assumed their people would have good sense about it. Then, just to prove that God has the greatest sense of humor in the universe, well, the dean of students employed a secretary who was one of the most wonderful people who ever existed. If you needed a vehicle, she would immediately hand you the keys to her pickup and say, "Let me know where you park it when you're done." She'd do that whether she knew you or not. Well, one day on a whim, she bought exactly 1 ticket. It was a $500 winner. Now the poor thing wasn't sure what to do. She didn't feel like she could keep the money because even though the school didn't have a policy about the lottery, there were guidelines in place about things like gambling and whatever else a lottery may be. Ultimately, that's what it is. I don't remember what she did with it, but I thought she should keep it. She didn't buy the ticket to gamble. She bought it out of pure curiosity. She wasn't expecting to win anything. She just wanted to see how this whole thing worked. She learned a lot more than she bargained for, and we students had a good laugh about it. As I said, God has the best sense of humor ever. Back at the convent, the drive isn't going well.
As of now, we have a net loss of $45.50.
Are you sure?
According to my calculations, we're losing 6 cents for every 3 cents donated.
Just the stationery and stamps for the mail portion of the campaign is costing more than they're bringing in. She shows them the ticket. They start musing about what they could do with $25,000. But Sister Bertrille isn't so sure.
No, that's an awful lot of money. You know, sometimes a lot of money like that changes people's lives the wrong way.
Well, we needn't worry, Sister Bertrille. It's 1 chance in thousands.
We won! We won! I'm telling you, we won!
Think about the people who have won these lotteries worth tens of millions. Very few, if any of them, are happy. What would I do if I won? I'd accuse somebody of cheating because I didn't buy a ticket. Sister Bertrille gets lost in some daydreams about the nuns getting selfish and catty, culminating in this.
I think all of you are being very frivolous, demanding, and selfish. It is obvious that we cannot buy all the things you want. If we spend our money for a car, a new kitchen, a new radio, and a new electric typewriter, just tell me one thing. What?
They've been talking about termites. Did we forget about those?
How will I ever be able to pay for my new mink coat?
Okay, did not see that coming. Neither did Sister Bertrille. She'll return the ticket and explain why they can't keep it.
It would have ended there, except they happened to see Sister Bertrille do her thing, from which they could draw only one conclusion.
We have just witnessed a miracle! That's why she wanted us to have the ticket back. She has blessed it. Consuelo, she has blessed our ticket in no name.
That means it's a sure winner. They resolve not to tell anyone about this.
You mean you actually saw her fly?
Like a bird.
Then it has been blessed. It's a sure thing.
I told you.
$25,000 first prize. You will be rich.
Fernando, your sister and I have talked it over, and we have agreed to let you buy a share of the lottery ticket.
But you have to keep this absolutely quiet. You can't even tell your wife.
She is the last person in the world I would tell anything to. It's a policy with me.
I, Maria, would tell anybody?
By morning, it's all over town and everybody in the region is at the Gomez's door with cash, ready to buy a piece of the ticket.
Reverend Mother, please believe me when I say that I have the greatest admiration for the work you do here.
Thank you, Chief Galindo. That is very nice to hear.
But as Chief of Police, I've also been sworn to protect those who have put me in office.
Of course.
Against anyone, for example, who may want to perpetrate fraud and deception.
I thought he had Captain Fomento for that. Never mind.
That is very commendable, I am sure, but what does this have to do with the convent?
I have evidence that shares are being sold in a lottery ticket, said to have been blessed by a saint who lives here.
She says there are no saints here, Chief, but we may know something about a lottery ticket.
Well, I returned the lottery ticket to Senor Gomez, and I guess he and his wife misinterpreted something I did or said.
Exactly what did you do, sister?
Nothing. I just finished my business and flew out of there.
Flew?
She means she was in a hurry.
She needed to get back before dark. Her vehicle doesn't have running lights.
And as I was saying, Chief Galindo, I can assure you that no one here is qualified to bless anything, let alone a lottery ticket.
In that case, Benito Gomez and his wife are perpetrating a fraud.
That's not good. She can't let these people go to jail over a simple misunderstanding. She asks the chief to hold off on deciding what to do. She wants to go talk to them. If they return the money they've collected, he's willing to consider the whole thing an honest mistake. No harm, no foul.
How am I going to go about convincing them I'm not a saint?
Just be yourself.
For starters, you could take a more traditional method of travel, like use the station wagon or finagle Carlos into driving you, head down to the local rent-a-burro, just about anything but fly.
I didn't bless that ticket. I couldn't. I'm not even a nun. I'm just a novice.
But Saint Bernadette was not even a novice, and some of the saints have been very humble people.
Well, that's exactly what I mean. I'm not humble enough.
They're both missing the most obvious factor. She can't be a saint because she's still alive. Saints don't get canonized until a certain time after they die. There's a buttload of criteria that have to be met, but the first one is stop breathing. She hasn't done that. She tries to explain things to the people, but nobody believes her. They're sure she can fly, she blessed the ticket, and all the rest.
The chief of police said he may indict you for fraud if you don't return the money and stop selling shares.
But we have done nothing wrong.
I know. That's what the people in jail keep saying. They said we must make them understand.
They will not believe me.
Well, how come they swallowed the idea that I can fly?
If people wish to believe, they will believe.
I'm pretty sure you two had something to do with it. This whole thing started because you resolved not to tell anybody.
And as to the ridiculous rumor that I can fly, let me show you. Excuse me. I'll just try fly a little. See? Nothing happened, except that I got a little tired.
They're not convinced. They say, "We know you can fly." She says, "You really believe that, do you? Fine, come by the convent tomorrow at such and such a time and I'll show you what I can do."
I don't like this. I just don't like it one bit.
Oh, Reverend Mother, I don't care about myself, but I'd hate to see you taken to jail for accessory to fraud.
Well, I'd be happy to bring you both cookies on visiting day.
Thank you, Sister Jacqueline, but I've tasted your cookies.
Now, I hardly think this is time for joking, sisters. Oh, they're here.
It's time for the great demonstration of her flying ability.
Any questions?
Yeah, who was holding the rope back at the Gomez farm when they saw you the first time?
Senor Aguinaldo, $20. Thank you very much, and do come and see us again sometime. Oh, if you're wondering what to do with your refund, our next annual rebuilding fund drive will start any minute now.
Good try, but I don't think the convent is going to be on any of their donation lists for a while. And it's not even her fault this time. Well, not completely. All she did was get caught taking off. Benito and Consuela did the rest.
Let me through there. Let me through. Sister, I have just come from Santango. The lottery has been drawn. Your ticket won. First prize, $25,000. Your ticket, their ticket, everybody's ticket but ours.
And if you didn't see that coming, turn in your habit. Now they're all up in arms because the Gomezes did what they had to stay out of jail. Sister Bertrille was right. Lots of money changes people, especially when they almost had it. And that's that for The Flying Nun. As I said, there was a third season, but it's never come out on home media. With some of the TV fail shows that I've looked at, some things can be hard to find, so I'm willing to fudge the rules a little and get what I need from YouTube or that bay where the Yo-Ho-Ho guys hang out or other sources. Not a major television series like this one. If it ever does get a DVD or Blu-ray release, I'll see about revisiting it. I don't have a Blu-ray player, but we'll figure something out. Having said that, I'm just as happy to be done. Somewhere around the past 7 or 8 episodes, something drastically changed. Suddenly, we were doing carefully defined segments with freeze frames at the end. We abandoned our basic story formula, and the quality took a nosedive like Tesla stock. I have no idea what happened, but I'm glad I was young enough not to notice it in 1969. Whatever it was, I won't say it ruined the show for me, but it leaves me ending on a majorly disappointing note. The rest of the cast went their separate ways to their separate careers. Sally Field, of course, went on to become a force of nature that is still moving and shaking today. She hated doing this show, but she learned things from it that were necessary if she were to become that force of nature. Today, she's the only living cast member. Of the other 3, the saddest was Alejandro Rey. He died of lung cancer at 57. I haven't found any information about whether he was a smoker or not, but it wouldn't have been out of character for the average leading man type of the era. Even so, I don't know, so I'm not going to speculate. And it really doesn't matter, because regardless of the cause, I take every cancer death personally. That spawn of Satan has claimed too many lives already, and it pisses me off. Marge Redmond, Sister Jacqueline, had a long and happy career and lived to be 96. Madeline Sherwood nearly matched her, living to 94. She remained Sally Field's friend for the rest of her life. As I've said many times, were it not for her, we might not have had a show. I encourage you to get your hands on the DVD set and watch the interview with Sally Field. It's as eye-opening as anything I've seen in recent memory. And the bonus to that is you can watch the show too. What will they think of next? Speaking of next, what's next for Mondays around here? I try to stay in the period around the 50s to 70s or early 80s, but for just a little while we're going to fudge and hop over to 1990. What happened in 1990? Oh, we'll take a quick look and find out. See what I did there? If you enjoyed this, please click the like button to let me and YouTube know you want to see more. If you're not subscribed yet, punch me in the mask here and get signed up so you don't miss a thing, because something is always happening here at Irving Zoo. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. And admires the work of the... You can all... Okay. But I thought... I don't... Okay, come on. But it leaves me ending on a majorly disappointed note. That man, that fell apart. Oh, well... Really, David?